Let me set the scene. Imagine you're listening to a song that shaped your childhood, watching a music video that changed the way you see the world, or viewing a cover art that speaks to your soul, and then boom, you find out the art that you've been in love with this whole time came from an artist who behind closed doors is known for doing unforgivable acts. With this conflict on your mind, you must come down to a tough decision. Do you throw that art away? Do you stop watching that music video forever? Do you delete all that person's music from your playlist? And if you don't, you now think of the question, does supporting their work mean supporting them? Does the art exist beyond the artist? These are just some of the hardest questions as a society we have yet to answer about art in today's time. The argument of separating the art from the artist. Now, for a while, I've been very interested in this topic because since graduating high school and growing into a more adult mindset, my former thoughts and opinions on things have changed drastically over time. The days of me just mindlessly consuming content has slowed down heavily, and now I start to really reflect more on the things I see on social media and in headlines. Now, I wrote this script closer to the time of Kanye West going on a complete insanity binge on X, formerly known as Twitter. So for my example coming up, it may seem dated, but it still stands with the point I'm trying to make. After forcing myself to sit down through almost an hour and a half of Kanye West's ADHD pharma conversation with the human hot pocket DJ Academics, it makes me feel so guilty about enjoying Bully so much. Since the release of Bully version 1, I'll admit I've been hooked like fish on a bait, like a moth to a flame, and it's really hard to listen to this music when every time I would go on Twitter, there's a new headline or tweet of Kanye West overly using the absolute fuck out of his first amendment. And this really put me in a tough place because if I'm being honest, I really love the music, but I can honestly do without the person and the crazy antics that come along. But unfortunately, that's just not the world we live in, and for that, here's an argument. Once art is released into the world, it becomes something that audiences interpret and connect with independently of the creator. A song becomes part of the cultural fabric, experienced and interpreted by people who may never connect to its artist's personal life. Its value in this view lies not in who created it, but in how it affects the listener. Basically meaning art takes on a life of its own. Many great works have had lasting value despite the controversies surrounding their creators. For example, we can't ever talk about Chris Brown without talking about how generational his run in R&B was, to the point that his artistry may never be matched again. But at the same time, we can't talk about Chris Brown without getting into his devious activities outside of the music. Even at this moment of time, he's fighting an assault charge in London after unprovokingly attacking a producer at a nightclub. But guess what? He's still gonna sell out a damn arena. Shit, maybe even a stadium. And this is where we have to understand moral imperfection is universal. If we judge every artist by their personal flaws and what they've done, we may find it very difficult to enjoy literally any form of art at all. People are complex beings, and their work isn't necessarily a direct reflection of all their personal beliefs or actions. I don't believe every time R. Kelly made a love song it was about a middle schooler, because I think there has to be a separation even within the artists of the things they do personally versus the music. And if there isn't, then that's really fucked up, because what do we now do with the historical and cultural importance of that said music? Do we now scrape the historic Michael Jackson versus Prince debate, knowing Prince met his wife at 16, adopted her at 17, then later on married her? Are we gonna talk about the most popular Chicago rappers and not mention Chief Keef, Lil Durk, King Von, and the plethora of other artists who have done bad things in their pastime? If we just deleted the discography of every artist who did something bad / cancelable outside of their music, what much would we have left genuinely? Some works have significant influence on culture, history, or even social movements. I mean, for crying out loud, this nigga Lil Baby made a Black Lives Matter song. So that means regardless of the artist's character, dismissing the art entirely could mean erasing valuable contributions to society. And this is why personal interpretation matters, because everyone should already know art is often subjective in that people relate to it in their own personal way. For example, example, I remember when I was in middle school and high school, depressed for no reason, listening to X, so fucked up I literally cried when he passed, and I've never done that for any other celebrity before or since. But I did all that just to find out as I've gotten older, this guy was a fucking demon behind closed doors. But does that mean that personal level I had with his music is all out the window now? I think it should go without saying that the meaning an audience derives from a song isn't necessarily tied to the artist's intentions or behavior. Just because I listen to Lil Jeff don't mean I'm gonna go catch 11 bodies. But I could maybe understand the environment he speaks on because I was once there. Obviously not catching bodies, but you know, in the hood I mean. So now this is when we get to my last point for supporting the separation of art from the artist, being the slippery slope of censorship. If we start rejecting art based on an artist's personal life, it raises questions about where to draw the line. Do we draw the line at Cardi assaulting a pregnant woman? Do we cross the line at Kanye talking about Jews? Do we cross the line at Travis Scott not being aware of concert safety and having his fans pass away in his presence? Where do we draw the line? Why are people saying free Tory but he's guilty of a crime? Why do they say free TK? Why was there a whole movement to free Thug when he was shooting at people's mom? You see what I'm trying to say here? These are all artists that I've named who have hundreds of millions to billions of streams, who are some of the most influential artists of today, yet they're horrible people once they leave that studio. That being said, it's completely understandable if separating art from the artist isn't always an easy or clear-cut decision. Some argue that supporting an artist's work indirectly enables their actions to become even worse, especially if they continue to profit from it. So now this ultimately leaves it up to the audience and your own personal choice as a fan to determine how much an artist's actions affect one's ability to engage with their work. Now on the other hand, I wanted to start off with giving the argument of separating art from the artist some life first, because it seems to be the most accepted stance for most people. And though I made some valid points on why we should separate art from the artist, sometimes that's just not enough. Sometimes these artists do need to be held accountable, and by that, their work should be non-existent, because bad people shouldn't get to profit from the fruits of their labor, no matter how hard they worked or how good the result is. And this leads me to a great point of financial support equaling endorsement. Because when you're a criminal and an alleged mass murderer like King Von, but get out of jail and get the chance of a lifetime to profit from your tales of mass destruction and use the money you receive to continue on the lifestyle you lived previous to making music, then you get the outcome where we are now saying RIP Von, but at the same time, the guy was in reality a fucking monster regardless of how good his music was or not. This is scary because though I said moral imperfection is universal, and I do hate to contradict myself, sometimes we do have to cross that out and realize there are times when art reflects the artist's value. Many artists infuse their work with their beliefs, experiences, and ideologies, so that means if an artist has harmful views or committed serious wrongdoings, those values may be present in their work even if it's subtle. One thing about rap music that really reminds me of rock music is the persona artists take on and how far they go with it. Back then, it was cool to listen to Sex Pistols and idolize Sid Vicious because he looked like this badass guy who said fuck the rules. But then you did your homework on him and then realized he wasn't joking, because he ended up being charged with second-degree murder of his girlfriend and is shortly taking his life before the trial even begun. You now cut to rap and have someone like Lil Durk who expresses so much of his personal life in his music, and it sounds so good, but then you realize the horrible things he's talking about is real, and this is when it starts to become an issue because of cultural influence and normalization of this shit. It's normal now to hear about rappers saying crazy things in their song because that's what they think will drive their careers, not understanding the things they put out influence the people. And when you're celebrating the work of a problematic artist, they can contribute to normalizing the weird behavior they have. It can send a message that talent outweighs morality, potentially reinforcing cycles of abuse or exploitation in the industry. And all of this may not sound like anything you have to care about, but how about the impact on victims and communities? You think Diddy victims appreciated him being known as this magnum opus in hip-hop even though he's carrying half of the supply of baby oil in the world in his closet? How do we justify giving artists like Nicki Minaj chances when she supports and is married to a fucking attempted rapist? How do we justify giving Kodak Black chances when he's repeatedly in the headlines for some serious crimes that have been completely overlooked because of how iconic the man is in rap? And I know I'm finna have barbs all on my ass. But then again, this is all selective application. How was DaBaby canceled for homophobia when it's widely known that hip-hop for the main part of history has been very homophobic? Why are people mad at Timbaland for AI artists, but we just ignoring the fact that Playboi Carti used AI for one of his most popular songs on his latest album? Or the fact that Kanye is literally just getting artists in the studio just so they can record and he AI his voice over it? If we stop listening to one artist for one thing, but go listen to another artist who does the exact same thing, but it's not called out, what does that make you? I'd say a hypocrite, but the thing is, you'll never know these artists like you think you do. Snoop Dogg once said, fuck Donald Trump.
Fuck Donald Trump. Fuck Donald Trump. Yeah, nigga, fuck Donald Trump.
How you gonna have nigga, how you gonna have your wife get at Michelle Obama? Nigga, fuck you, nigga. Now I'm on the mission too. Yeah, nigga. Yeah, nigga, Donald Trump. We ain't voting for your punk ass. Go get you a new hairdo, you bitch ass nigga.
Just as shockingly become buddy and sit on this nigga lap, which disappointed a lot of fans, but you'll never be disappointed once you stop idolizing these people. We gotta stop giving them unwarranted amounts of credit just for the art that they've made. Music is a billion-dollar industry that turns the best people, for example, a Disney star, from this to this, or even this to that, because we now value controversy, publicity, and attention more than the talent itself. So what's the answer to all of this, you may be asking? To be honest, I don't know, because I hate Nine Vicious with a passion, but when I hear the beat for Statement, I can't help but bop my fucking head, and I feel bad every single time for it. So yeah, anticlimactic, I know, but the real answer is you have free will and you can listen to whoever you like, because who's gonna stop you? And that's the video. Y'all let me know in the comments below what y'all think about this topic. Can you separate art from the artist? Can you not separate art from the artist? In my opinion, I've tried so hard for many months, many years to try and not separate art from the artist and hold these people accountable, but it's been very hard when people are dropping such good ass fucking songs. And like I said, who's gonna stop me from listening? But there definitely is a line, because I'm not listening to no grapists or PDF files or any weird ass people. But it's been your boy Zio. I'm signing out. I love y'all. Stay cool. Make sure to subscribe, like the video, because why the fuck not? It's free. Fuck it. But it's been your boy the Lieutenant signing out. 365 million every day, all day. 365. I'm out of here. Bye.
Lately been living it up. Fuck all these bitches, they ain't giving no time. I swear that my feelings are done. I've been on my lonely sitting in the room. I swear it's just me and my cup. I swear it's just me and my cup. I swear it's just me and my cup. Bitch, I'm not getting enough.